Hello. I hope this video finds you well. I'm certainly very well. I have been very blessed by God lately. This is going to be a podcast now. I want to treat it like a podcast. Where's the water bottle? Let's settle in. It's going to be a 10-minute, whatever, how you doing podcast. Let's see. Enjoy. Oh, man, it's nice to just riff, with you guys a little bit. At any rate, I hope you're doing good. I've had prayers answered this week. I got to see family today. It's really good out. It's really good here. It's really good out here. I got pictures up on the wall. Pretty sweet. I did the little twine thing and then the clips. I'll give you guys a peek. Why not, dude? Who cares? Pretty sweet. I'm not sure if that was the right angle, but at any rate, you get the idea. But the reason for this video is I'm probably overdue like 1 or 2 videos because the other night I just felt like a surge of, this literally is not to brag, but a surge of like humility, like extreme gratitude, however you want to put it, for the Lord. And I guess maybe I waited too long. I wrote a little bit. I'll have to write about it, but I really just felt like a little kid. I mean, it's weird to say almost. It takes a little courage, but I was sitting there, I was watching The Chosen or something, and then I just, excuse me, I just got chills, but I just started getting really happy. This was it. There's 2 things. Number 2 is going to be we're regarded as lambs to be slaughtered, and I'll get to that. This is the outline, this is the skeleton of what we're going to talk about. And the first one is faith. I literally prayed for more faith. And my friend, Nick, if you're watching this, it's you. He goes, and I go, am I just supposed to sit there and be more faithful? Can I do something about it? He goes, it's pretty much. And I'm like, all right. So I lay down on this bed behind me. And I was like, well, all right, how do I be more faithful? And one of the first things that came to mind, I'm guessing from God, from God, that God led me to, was just accept that this is forever. Let that sink in. Accept that you're going to be aware, in God, God willing, you're born again of the Spirit, but you're going to be aware and with God forever. And it's like, whoa, dude. We could get hit by a missile. You know what I mean? I could get hit by a car. Whatever it is, I'm going to be with God forever. And I've had the survival instinct. I've had to move quite a few times. And it's not a dig at my childhood. I mean, even in my adulthood, I've caused myself to have to move quite a few times. Living out of a bag here and there. But it just really makes you feel like, even when you're poor, dude, something's gonna work out. Now I'm obviously capable of making ends meet, but I'm still alive. Even though I literally ends did not meet, I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? I was getting at that, and I was like, wow, this is forever. I really, with God's help, you really can do anything. I wonder if you guys think about that. So it's almost like the road to humility, or the road to faith is you get self-confident, but it's really God confidence. You have more trust. And that, okay, so this is the interesting idea. It's well, if I can do anything, God willing, in this life, then a lot of people react, and I've lived in a fashion where I've been trying to prove to myself or to others that I could do something, right? I want you guys more elevated. But anyways, I've lived in a way where I've been trying to prove that, oh, you can't be 200 pounds, real men are 200 pounds. It's I get the gym trope. It's more lighthearted than that. But for me, I took it very personally. I had some baggage, you know what I mean? And so I literally just tortured myself until I got there. And of course I got there, and that was not cool. But I didn't really know God too much at that point. I didn't know His mercy. I didn't really get it. Uh, excuse me. But people can live their whole lives like that. Oh, you'll never be a millionaire. It's like, well, geez, bro, there goes the next 3-4 years. You know what I mean? And you're just grinding. And like, yeah, it's nothing wrong with being successful, but you can't live if you don't live in faith. Do I have charcoal in my teeth? I do, maybe a little bit. I did this thing, you're supposed to grab toxins out of you, it detoxes you. I've been feeling a little, icky, but anyways. Yeah, so like just play with that idea. Like if you can do that thing, your dragon or whatever, the heroes, whatever you want to call it. Number one, Jesus is my hero. We're not called to be the main character. He's the main character, okay? You're slipping. But at any rate, if you can do that thing, it's like, why are you stressing out, dude? And I just let go of that. And I just literally started living. And I started like, I have this little notebook. I literally was like I started grabbing pages. I was like literally like this. I was like I just get so happy. Like just a little kid just fidgeting around. I'm like, wow, this is neat. You start exploring. I was in my house. I'm in my house. I'm out in the woods. I'm just like, dang, man. Like we get to, like this is paper. You can write things. Like it's literally so cool. Like people sleep on reality all the time. Just normal stuff is very cool. But the reason that I was sleeping on it was because I was so stressed and like, oh, I gotta do this. And you can spend your whole day, say my finances are in order. I can go over it again and again, and I need to get finer, oh, the budget this, and then tiny. I can go down to the particle size. I literally spend my whole life worrying. Man, that never added an hour to anybody's life. Praise God, man. And I prayed for faith, and ask and you shall receive. Yeah, and I also prayed on a couple other things. I wanted to be less hateful, less bitter, hence the reactivity. Oh, you look like... I'm not gonna go to the whole story. But anyways, people, sometimes I always get this, oh, you're eating so much food, where do you put it? And I kind of wanted, I was at a point where I was still trying to get big. Like right now, I still want to do athletics, but I'm not obsessed with getting huge right now. But they're like, where do you put it? And I'm like, bro, I'm trying to put it on, and I would just get all upset, and I'm like, I'm just gonna eat so many calories now, so I wanted to be less hateful, and that was good. It's just that rejection that makes you really reactive sometimes. Anyways, that was really great. And number 2 is we regarded as lambs to be slaughtered. I forget where in scripture that's from, but it's from the New Testament. And Jesus also says to turn the other cheek. My friend and I were talking about this, or actually in 2 scenarios, 2 different people, but turn the other cheek in, you would think that means, originally I thought it meant if you get slapped here, act like they didn't slap you. And just be fresh. It's not exactly. It's more like in Jewish culture, if someone were to front hand you, it's whoa. You would have to quickly turn the other cheek, would be like this, and they would have to backhand you. And if they backhand you, it's come on, bro. That's a foul. You're not, you know what I mean? And it would get them self-conscious. It would get them oh man, I'm actually kind of aggressing. I don't really need to be mean right now. You know what I mean? But that takes you turning the other cheek, opening up to that pain. It's if somebody chirps you real quick, be like, hey, you skinny twig. It's you could chirp back and say something immediately, but you're trying to defend your heart by hardening. You're trying to deflect it. It's no, take that pain. It's no, bear that pain, bear that cross, give it to God. And then that's the other cheek to them, is you didn't respond and react and fight, because they'll fight all day, and people, that's what aggression feeds on. We don't wrestle with flesh and blood. It's the animosity. But so if you turn the other cheek, if you go, and it's tough, man. It's easy, especially when you're fired up, when you lift, say run, if you know how to fight, if you're very confident, this is going to be almost more difficult. Not going to go down this road, but anyways, when you just be quiet and you don't defend yourself, almost. Now, physically do defend yourself, okay? I'm not trying to tell people to do that, but you know what I mean. Verbally is a huge one. If you don't defend yourself and you just go, well, that's obviously not the truth, okay? My faith is in God, not what other people think of me. But if somebody says something to you and you don't say anything back and they walk away and they're going, wow, I was expecting him to really just come back at me and say some nasty stuff. It's geez, man, I probably just hurt that guy's feelings. Like, what the heck? You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole thing. Overcome evil with good. It dumped hot coals on their head. It's not hot coals to hurt them. It's like, oh, dang, dude, I'm actually, like, I was mean. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, whoa. And you start to, like, really zoom out and see yourself as, like, I don't know. It just happens. It just happens. It happened to me one time. This guy was trying to get me a drink, and I was like, no, man, like, I'm okay. Like, I'm just not, I'm not gonna do that. And he was he was joking with me, and he was really in the bit, like, come on, man, do it. And then he goes, whoa, dude, I'm actually peer pressuring this guy right now. He's like, dang, man, I feel sober now. Like, I'm gonna think about this later. And I was like, oh, well, like, okay. And we were cool. We ended up talking, but same thing. It's just an example, but yeah. I had a good example at work. There was a misunderstanding. I don't know if the story's worth sharing, but I don't know. I was just caught in it was really easy for me to just not react, and then I ended up making a friend. It wasn't a coworker, it was somebody who came in. But at any rate, that's what I wanted to share. And I feel like that's important. Downtown East Lansing. What are you gonna do? Yeah, I prayed for faith, I prayed to be less hateful, and I prayed for a wife, and I'm not married, but God might be working, you never know. He is working, but I'm not sharing that here. All right. God bless you. I guess that's it. Thank you for joining. I guess this is a bit of a podcast now. I'm going to have to figure out a good title for this, but until next time.